Hello students, we are back to see our next part of Russian Revolution. In this part, we'll talk about the civil war in Russia, how it was going on, what were the reasons behind it, and how it continued, and what were the consequences of the civil war. So let's begin. As you know very well, when the Bolsheviks they got the complete power and they announced that there should be a redistribution of the land which were earlier owned by the nobility. So when this land was being distributed again, among the soldiers, those who were fighting on the borders, they were thinking that means as they were from peasants family. Okay, so they also wanted land. So on redistribution of land, the Russian army began to break up. And from leaving the border, they were just coming to the land and they were joining this revolt, this revolution. So that was the first problem while the redistribution of land was going on. Then there were few people, those who were pro-Tsarist, those who supported the Tsar. They just opposed the policies of Bolsheviks. They didn't like many of the policies of Bolsheviks. So such kind of leaders, they know very well that when this support is growing and face to face, we can't go against the Bolsheviks. So these people, they flew towards South Russia, where there is a Black Sea, because to this Black Sea, there were few European powers, those who were supporting Russian monarchy, and they were France, England, Japan, okay, then US. So these non-Bolshevik leaders they went to South Russia to fight. Now here, three terms you should understand. First, Reds. When we say that these are Reds, Reds means Bolshevik people, followers of Lenin. They are called Reds. Then second, they are Greens. Greens means, do you remember our RSDWP? Yes. So those liberal people, they are Greens. They are socialist revolutionaries, and in another other words I can say that they are Mensheviks. Okay, so Greens, they are uh, followers or the supporters of socialist they RSDWP, socialist revolutionary they are. And third, whites. Whites are pro-czarist. Pro-czarist means those people who want complete monarchy. They don't want any kind of constitution or any kind of government, any kind of socialism. They want complete monarchy. Okay, so they are white people, pro-czarist. So these white people, they were backed by French, US, Britain, and Japan because they were worried about the growing socialism in Russia. See, what is the reason why these countries are interfering in the internal affairs of Russia? The reason behind it was these countries they don't want that the socialism should prosper in Russia, because all these countries, you can see France, US, Britain, Japan, they all are capitalist country. They want there should be a system of capitalism, and all these countries almost they are kind of monarchies. Okay, so they wanted that the monarchy should be restored. There should not be the rule of people, but there should be the rule of king. That's they wanted. That's why they are supporting the greens and whites of Russia. And when these people they are going towards the south, towards Black Sea, at that Black Sea, these people started fighting against Bolsheviks. So, but actually, uh, these whites people, as they were pro-czarist, and when they saw that these peasants who were considered slaves earlier, they have taken our land, the land of nobility they have captured, they have seized. So very unsympathetically they behaved with these peasants. They tortured them a lot. They had contempt for them, and that's why their treatment towards them was very harsh. Because of this harsh treatment, the support that they were getting from the farmers, they lost it. Okay, so while they are fighting against the Bolsheviks, again, you can see by January 1920, Bolsheviks controlled most of the former Russian Empire. Earlier in 1918, 1918 and 19. Maximum part of Russia was controlled by the Greens and Whites. But in 1920, maximum part by January 1920, maximum part of Russia was controlled by Bolsheviks. But still, again, there was one problem. People in Russia, they were not happy with the policies of Bolsheviks. There were few policies. For example, in Khiva, in Central Asia, Khiva is in Central Asia. There were some nationalists, they were massacred, they were killed. And for what? Under the pretext of protecting socialism. Means these people, they are going against socialism, that's why we killed them. Actually, these people were helping pro-Tsarist people. Okay, so though they were common, but they were considered pro-Tsarist and they were just killed. And but they have to answer the people. So what the answer they gave? They gave the answer to the people that these people, they were threat to the socialism, that's why we killed them. And again, to what we can say, uh, to convince the people, they gave just what we can say national means autonomy to non-Russian nations in USSR, United Soviet of Socialist Russia. Okay, so means those which countries were not the part of Russia, they were given autonomy. Means now you can run your country by yourself, but under USSR. Earlier, see, means I think I should explain it first, what exactly it is. If you see the map of Russia, then you will come to know such a vast land was owned or the conquered by the empire, by the emperor, Tsar. Okay, so that whole country, all the rules and regulations everywhere were same everywhere, which countries were conquered by the king. Okay, but after this, when the rule of the people came, these countries, which were not the part of Russia, original Russia, they were given autonomy that you have to run your country. But the first condition, you should follow socialism and you should govern your country under socialist Russia. That was the condition. Okay, but still, uh, though they gave this chance to these countries and they were trying to become popular, still there was another policy which was very harsh for the Russians, and that's why they became unpopular. Bolsheviks become unpopular, and that was harsh opposed to nomadism. That was very unpopular policy because many of the Russian people, they were nomads. Nomads means those who uh, they just keep moving. They don't live on one place. They just keep changing the places and they move around the countryside. Okay, so such kind of business is called nomadism. So these people, many of the Russians, those who were peasants, they used to roam everywhere in Russia, but nomadism was stopped. So this was very unpopular policy among the people. Now, here you can see again two views. Central Asia of the October Revolution. M.N. Roy was an Indian revolutionary. He was a founder of Mexican Communist Party and prominent Comintern leader in India, China and Europe. He was in Central Asia at the time of the Civil War in 1920s. What he writes, let's see about it. The chieftain was a benevolent old man. His attendant, a youth who spoke Russian. He had heard of the revolution, which had overthrown the Tsar and driven away the generals who conquered the homeland of the Kyrgyz. Kyrgyz, there is a one country, Kyrgyzstan. Okay, so the people of the Kyrgyzstan, they are Kyrgyz. Okay, so what they are saying that the Tsar is overthrown and they driven away the generals who conquered the homeland of the Kyrgyz. So the revolution meant that the Kyrgyz were masters of their home again. Long live the revolution, shouted the Kyrgyz youth, who seemed to be a born Bolshevik. The whole tribe joined. So you can see here, this tribe, they are happy because again, they are Kyrgyzstan. They are going to rule their homeland and there will be autonomy for their country. That's why there will be their own administration there. That's why they are happy. Now let's talk about second view. The Kyrgyz welcomed the first revolution, that is February Revolution, because it was not full of blood, but so they just welcomed it with joy, and the second revolution with consternation and terror. They were looking at this revolution with so much terror because we have seen the policies by the Bolsheviks because of that reason. First revolution freed them from the oppression of the Tsarist regime and strengthened their hope that autonomy would be realized. The second revolution, October Revolution, was accompanied by violence, pillage, taxes, and the establishment of dictatorial power. Once a small group of Tsarist bureaucrats oppressed the Kyrgyz, now the same group of people perpetuate the same regime. Are you getting this? What exactly is going on in Kyrgyzstan? Earlier, monarchy, they tried to oppress these people. Now the same people, they are coming from Russia to oppress them. Only the what is the change? Now monarchy is not there. That is the only change. But suppression, oppression, that pillage, that taxes, that violence, okay, and the dictatorial power, it is same. It remains same in Russia. So when February Revolution was over, October Revolution was over, civil war is over. Now there is a time to make a Russia a socialist society. So what to do and how to do? Let's talk about it. So first of all, first 5-year plan was given for the growth. Okay, 5-year plan. I think you know it. India also follows it. That idea we have taken from Russia only. Okay, so first two plans they were given for they just fixed all the prices, okay, and 100% growth in industries, that was their intention. So Magnitogorsk, there was a steel plant. For building this plant Magnitogorsk, it took 3 years, okay, after building. And when the construction started, because if you want to develop fast, then the construction also should be faster. So when it was built up in very fast speed and it started operating, in a single year there were 550 stoppages in the work in single year. Because when you do any work in rush, in fast, then of course there will be some drawbacks, and that's why 550 times the company stopped, the factory stopped. In such a condition, winter was below 40 degree and poor conditions of workers were there, because all these people, they all are trying to improve the condition of Russia, because until and unless the Russia is not industrialized, it will not become a prominent power in Europe. So these people, they are again forced to work in these industries. I think you might have understood one thing. Though the power has shifted from the Tsar to the people, but the people, those who have got the power, they are again doing the same things which Tsar used to do with the Russians. Okay, so socialist cultivation in village in the Ukraine. Let's see this except. A commune was set up using two confiscated farms as a base. The commune consisted of 13 families. See, means when we are following the communism, you must have known what is the idea of communism. Means if there are 4 5 lands owned by the different owners, then they will be brought together and they will be cultivated by those families, and whatever they are getting from that farm, it will be shared equally in those 5 6 families. Then the homes or all the property they have, it will be equally shared. So here one example is given from Ukraine. The farm tools taken from the farms were turned over to the commune, and the members ate in a communal dining hall, and income was divided in accordance with the principle of cooperative communism. The entire proceeds of the members' labor, as well as the dwellings and the facilities belonging to the commune, were shared by the commune members. So in this way you can see how the Russia is moving. towards socialism. Here is another picture you can see. The workers, those who are working at the Magnitogorsk or any of the factory which is uh, working in Russia. So what about the workers' children? So special kinds of schools were established for them. They were called creches. Here you can see one photo is given in our book. Schooling systems for workers. It is creches. A teacher is teaching them. They are sitting and they are learning things. So what they are exactly taught there? The children at school in Soviet Russia in the 1930s, and they are studying the Soviet economy. Okay. Here is you can see another picture. Figure 17. There is a factory dining hall in 1930s. The workers, those who are working in the factories, they all will come in this dining hall. They all will sit together and they will be served same food and they will be eating there in this dining halls. Means you can see everything is going to be shared now. Okay, because in socialism all are equal. Here you can see other picture. Figure 16. A child in Magnitogorsk. During the first 5-year plan, he is working for Soviet Russia. What he is told? That he is working for Soviet Russia in such a childhood. Okay. So what were the condition? Cheap public health care was provided to these workers. Then model living quarters were set up for the workers. Means uh, the effect of all this was uneven, though since government resources were limited. Okay, though the government they had very few resources because just now they have come out of civil war, then two revolutions, so their resources are less. But still they are trying to cope up with this harsh conditions. Okay, but still the conditions for these workers were very poor, we can say. So there is one example is given in our book that four layered or we can say four floored buildings used to be there for these workers, and they were not allowed to keep their families with them while they're working in the factories and in the dormitories also. So they all are sleeping in the dormitories. Four layered buildings are there, and even if they want to go to the toilet and they have to come down four layers down. Okay, so such a harsh conditions were there for these workers. Then another example, dreams and realities of Soviet childhood in 1933. So this is the letter from a 13-year-old worker to Kalinin, a Soviet president, in 1933. What he writes, let's see. He says, "Dear grandfather Kalinin, my family is large. There are 4 children. We don't have a father. He died fighting for the workers' cause, and my mother is ailing. I want to study very much, but I cannot go to the school. I had some old boots, but they are completely torn and no one can mend them. My mother is sick. We have no money and no bread, but I want to study very much. There stands before us the task of studying, studying, and studying." That is what Vladimir Ilyich Lenin said. But I have to stop going to school. We have no relatives and there is no one to help us. So I have to go to work in a factory to prevent the family from starving. Dear grandfather, I am 13. I study well and have no bad reports. I am in class 5. Can you see? Such a bad condition is going on. The student who is in 5th standard is writing to the Kalinin, who was president at that time of Russia. He is saying that Lenin assured us that there is a big task in front of us, and the task is study, study, and study. But now I can't study because I want that my family should not starve, and for them, I have to work for them. So, just keeping this in mind, think about it. So, when he wrote this letter, and from this letter, you will understand one thing. Russia, in Russian Revolution, people they were thinking something else and happened something else. Same like French Revolution. Okay, means they just वो बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में, कुएं से निकलना और आग में जाके गिरना, ऐसी बात हो गई है रशियन लोगों की। फेब्रुअरी रिवॉल्यूशन लोगों को अच्छा लगा क्योंकि वो ब्लडलेस रिवॉल्यूशन था, लेकिन अक्टूबर रिवॉल्यूशन में बोल्शेविक्स ने और सिविल वॉर की वजह से जो ब्लडशेड हुआ, उसकी वजह से लोगों में एक तरह का टेरर और बढ़ गया है, और लोगों को बताया गया कि हमें रशिया को फिर से खड़ा करना है। तो अगर इसे खड़ा करना है तो आपको मेहनत करनी होगी, और इतने पुअर कंडीशन में इन लोगों को फैक्ट्रीज में काम करना पड़ रहा है। इसके ऊपर से आपको एक बात समझ में आएगी कि रशिया की कंडीशन उस वक्त क्या होगी। ओके। और इसके बाद एक बहुत ही बड़ा और डिक्टेटर आने वाला है रशिया में, जिनका नाम है स्टालिन। एक्चुअली वो आ चुके हैं। ओके, ये 1933 का एक लेटर है। ओके, इसका मतलब वो आ चुके हैं। 1924 में लेनिन की डेथ हुई थी, और लेनिन कभी भी नहीं चाहते थे कि उनका सक्सेसर स्टालिन बने, लेकिन स्टालिन की डिक्टेटोरियल एटीट्यूड की वजह से लेनिन के दोस्त ट्रॉट्स्की, उनको भाग जाना पड़ा रशिया से, और बाद में उनको स्टालिन ने अपने कुछ एजेंट्स का इस्तेमाल करते हुए उनको मार डाला, और वही रशिया के सक्सेसर बनते हैं और एक बहुत बड़े डिक्टेटर बनते हैं। ओके। तो वो कौन कौन सी पॉलिसीज रशिया में लाते हैं, उसके बारे में हम अगले लेक्चर में देखते हैं। ठीक है। टिल देन, थैंक यू सो मच, हैव अ नाइस डे।